as the more my doubts and demons on their way. Every endeavor I have made ever is coming into play, is here and now today.
And truly, this is the moment. Thank you all for being here on the live. When you're live, you thrive. And when you're on the replay, you get to play again. You get the ring of the victory bell for being here and being awesome. And you know who else is awesome? My next amazing guest. And let me tell you all about her. Her name is Syreta Toson. Her mission is to transform and inspire as a motivational speaker and podcaster. She proposes that triumph is always available to us during and after facing one's life's adversities. Her YouTube series is based on what can really happen when you embody a resilient success mindset for change, and the ways in which simply changing one's thinking can empower you in ways you may never have thought. In 2008, she found herself in prison for second-degree murder after a series of bad decisions that included drug addiction and staying in an abusive relationship. That abuse led to shooting her abuser and more than 14 years in jail. Released in September as of 2022, her subsequent success is a story of transformation that she wants to share with others who are facing adversity. Wow! So without any further delay, let's welcome the one, the only, the indomitable, the unstoppable, super beautiful, and super talented Syreta Toson.
Wow, what an introduction, Raja. Thank you.
That's awesome. So,
oh my gosh, you are too.
On the live too. Make sure you click that link down below so that you can comment on the live. So let's not waste any more time and just dive right in. So Syreta, man, what a story. I mean, I've been through some traumatic things in my life as well, but man, I don't think it pales in comparison to what you've been through. 14 years.
Well, I appreciate you seeing me for who I am. And, as you said, people have been through some things, and it doesn't have to be 14 years in prison to have experienced severe trauma, but that is my story. And, my mantra is I am the queen of the resilience mindset. So as long as you have that.
What brought you to where you are right now?
Right now, upon my release, I just hit the ground running, and I started speaking about some of the injustices I saw. Yep. And I also was so, blessed to get a TEDx and just talk about, are you opening doors for people or are you closing them? Because before this happened, I would have been judgmental to someone who had been to prison.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But now it's me. Yeah. But here's the thing. I know people that come out of prison. I want to say have a difficult time readjusting. What was so what like relationships helped you through that?
Wow. So I definitely got immersed in a church community. I'm a very spiritual person. I've always been a believer, and they supported me when I wasn't telling my story. I have a great family who was ready to embrace me. And I just made sure that, I later on met a mentor, and that I kept that circle of excellence, positive people that had what I wanted, and everything just manifested as such.
Beautiful. And I love the positive twist that you put on everything that you went through. Now, what relationships actually harmed you?
Wow. Sometimes I, would put a lot of trust. Now, this is prior to my incarceration and during my incarceration, that I put trust in the wrong people. And, there's always some warning signs. But then again, sometimes there aren't always some warning signs. So I just feel like sometimes you just got to really tap into something bigger than you and ask God those important questions, and don't make those decisions yourself. Gotcha. And I was listening to people who didn't have my best interest at heart.
Gotcha. And so all of us have been through something like that. Like I have children now that are in their teen years, and it's not the same comparison, but I always tell my children, your friendships change. The people sometimes in your life come and go. So you should always be every year trying to make a new friend or a couple.
I like
But if you're
that.
making one good friend every year, you're doing pretty good. And so, you know, what advice do you have for people that are struggling in their lives trying to figure out, who should they trust? Like, what advice do you have for them?
Yeah, well, here's my advice is tap into something greater than yourself. Ask
Hmm.
yourself the important questions. Why does this person want to be in my life? Are they self-serving or are they really a friend? What benefits are they reaping from my friendship that maybe I'm not getting in return? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be a fair weather friend, and you don't want to overextend your friendship
Yeah.
with someone who
Mhm.
isn't ready to put in the same amount of work. And the same is absolutely true for whoever you choose to be in a love relationship with. You need to list everything that you want in a friend, and if your friends or your potential partner or mate are not making those requirements, then maybe it's time to move on.
Yeah. And now, not only that, think about this: the amount of trust that goes into families. Sometimes when I talk about inner school bullying of
Yeah.
children, there's also bullying of adults in the corporate workplace. There's bullying of adults in family situations. There's always,
Hmm.
you always see the movies about family reunions. There's always somebody's brother or sister or uncle or father or mother or whoever, somebody that is, someone's the success story, and
Yeah.
someone is the person who is treated as like the loser of the family, and that
Yeah.
person always gets bullied. Well, why do we put up with that, and why do we allow that? You know,
Well,
let
let me tell you, sometimes you can just find yourself in a position where,
Mhm.
hey, this person has changed completely, especially in a work environment. Sometimes we become emotionally invested in a job and we take off the table that at the end of the day, we're going home. You need to leave that behind you. So, people might not even realize that they are taking a bully posture or a bully demeanor. But here's my firm advice: as soon as there's a perceived injustice, address it. Family, friend,
Mhm.
foe, whatever. Say, hey, I don't appreciate the way you spoke to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, because I know that a lot of us put up or we tolerate something because we have fear of repercussions. We have fear of being left out of the inner circle. We get fear of
Rejection.
a rejection, or just fear of being alone. I know that
Yeah.
for a long time, a lot of people, especially in a work environment, they don't want to be left out of the people that are making the decisions. If they stand up and speak, all of a sudden they feel like, uh-oh, now they're going to try to exclude me. It's very common.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that myself in the workplace, because I wasn't always a yes man. I'm just not. So I would always tell them when they're doing something wrong, I said, or do we really want to spend this much money, this much millions of dollars on a project that's not going to be useful or effective or anybody's going to buy? No. But they didn't like
Yeah.
that. I can't do anything about that. But I told them the facts, and people have to accept that. So guess what? That
Yeah.
makes me an outsider, and that's the scary part. You have to stand up for yourself, and for everyone. If you ever feel like you're not respected in the right way,
Hmm.
you're probably in the wrong location.
Wow.
Oh,
I like that. And just to touch back on what you said about standing up for yourself, find your voice as soon as you possibly can. Find your voice early. And if it takes you a while to find that voice and stand up and say, hey, listen, I don't feel like this is a good business deal, then you stand from that day on at a posture and a position of it doesn't matter exactly what your perception or your feelings are. I know I'm doing the right thing by myself and I'm doing the right
hmm,
thing by this business. And when I go home tonight, I'm going to sleep just fine because I know I stood up for myself and I'm going to continue to do so. So find that voice early. And if you don't find it
yeah,
early, when you do find it, never let it go.
gotcha. So now, I I'm really curious, because I don't know what it's like to be in prison. What really stood up for you that helped you the most to get through that a situation?
Good question at a great time because I was just talking about finding my voice. Okay.
Yep.
So when I went in
Hmm.
there, I was so beat down. I was so depressed. I got a paper as soon as I got to prison. I'd already been in county jail for about almost 3 years that said I wasn't even
Okay.
eligible for parole until a year later. So,
Okay.
or excuse me, until 10 years later, a decade later.
Oh,
So,
oh wow.
yeah, like I got there in 2010. The
Scary.
paper said you were eligible in 20. And that still didn't mean I was going to be released because I had to serve 85% of a 17-year sentence.
Uh-huh.
I was depressed. And then just little key moments happened when I realized that I'm still dynamic. I'm still a strong person. I might have been through, positions and circumstances and chances in my life, but just because I'm here, I'm still a human being. And because, we had all sorts of dynamics working in there, I made the staff realize I'm a human being too. And that shifted the environment. When I decided I'm not going to adapt to this environment anymore, I'm going to make this environment adapt to me.
Gotcha. So now, while you were there, I think we lost you for a second.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Without naming names, was there any person or guard or that really helped kind of make you feel supported while you were there so you could thrive?
Very much so. I remember there's about 3 times that officers had just basically saw me in a bad way and said, Toson, you can do this. Don't cry. You've got it. You've got it.
Mhm.
And it would help get me through, which is going to sound astounding, but a kind word could get you through some years if you have
Yes,
that to reflect on.
I totally agree because I think for a lot of people, and now I will say this, I think I finally found my voice a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago, because
Amen.
most of my life I've been in hiding and in shame about my speech impediment. So now, as a result of finally finding my voice, I wish someone had believed in me sooner.
Yeah,
And if that's all it takes is if one
it
person
really
believes in
is.
you, it turns everything around. And
It
guess
shows
what?
you who you are, what you
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah. And if you've ever read any Maxwell books,
Yes.
I think in the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, if you if a person doesn't have an excelling quality, give them one. All of a
Hmm.
sudden, then they rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Wow, you are so smart. Wow, you are so good at math. Wow, you are always on time. Wow, you are so
Hmm.
kind to people. All of a sudden, because you gave them a quality that no one ever believed in them before of that, they are going to rise because that's our human nature. We're going to rise to
That's
that
right.
belief because somebody else created that belief for you.
That's
And it's
right.
so powerful. And you can do that
It
with
is.
anybody. You can do that with
Hmm.
children, with adults. You can do that at church. You could do it in the grocery line. I mean,
Yeah, you
it's
can do it in
really
karate.
you can definitely do it in karate. Well, that's how we build a black belt mindset. That's what I
Hmm.
do.
I
And
thought
so
so. Yeah.
yeah. So tell me a little bit more about. So now, once you got out, you started to speak and you started to train others in their resilience. So how did that journey begin?
Well, I figured if I can lead and in prison, then I can
Yeah.
lead anywhere. And I also felt like, because about 6 months, I had great job. The mayor's coming into this job. I got a job in economic development because, I had skills from before. My
Nice.
computer skills were terrible, but that's a whole nother story. Uh, and I was in hiding. I would sweat under my armpits when someone grabbed my business card because I was
Yeah.
afraid they would Google search me. And
Yeah.
once I got past, well, it just kept weighing on me that I left 1,500 women behind that have similar stories that people are still going to judge. The same things that I'm worried about happening to me are going to happen to them unless someone humanizes us. And I
Yeah.
just stepped into my role. Like, really, I feel like I was on a missionary trip because up until that day, like I'm trying to tell you, if someone would have moved next to my mom, and they had that kind of case, I'd be like, get her out of here. And now that's
Hmm.
me. So I
Oh my
felt like I
gosh.
was doing my friends a disservice and an injustice by not admitting who I was and what I was really, capable and of doing and opening the door for my friends.
Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, you're going to ring the victory bell for that because that's so powerful. That idea
Yeah.
of just, you know, be who you are and
Yes.
allow people to share that. I think that vulnerability is something that we're afraid of.
Yeah.
And but that is the thing that connects us. It's only when, I remember you know, you go to a concert with a bunch of friends and then that's when you guys are hanging out and then finally the thoughts start opening up because you're out of your normal situation. and
Yeah.
then you can actually talk for real. Whether you go to a baseball game, or whether you go to the movies, or whether you're, sometimes I take my kids with me to go get a gallon of milk or something, and that's
Mhm.
when, in that 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they start opening up to me in the car because it seems like our little private space, and they
Yes.
have my 100% attention. Because I always keep the radio off when they're in the car with me so we can talk. And so by being vulnerable, it it gives you that chance to truly connect with another
Mhm.
human being, right?
Yeah.
So now, Syreta, tell me a little bit about, like, I'm gonna put the post here. Like, I think we don't have your banner yet, but
Uh-huh.
for those that are watching right now, Syreta is going to be sharing a gift link with you later on.
Yeah.
It is going to be down in the show notes or the comments after the broadcast, and once in the podcast, in the show notes. If it's on the YouTube channel, it'll be maybe a clickable banner here, here, or there. You'll
Yeah.
find it. You guys are all smart people there. So
Yes.
make
Thank
sure
you.
you click on that. And what are they going to get when they click on your link?
Well, if you click on my link, SyretaTalks.com, you will find links to my podcast, also how to book a keynote with me. My event that's coming up is going to be November 13th here in Columbia at the Anti-Poverty Summit. I'll be on a discussion panel with two gentlemen who I know who are also formerly incarcerated. So it's just a spotlight on success, but it's also a spotlight on how a lot of people don't come out with, a booming personality like me and can, tell people, hey, I need a hand up, not a handout, and then have strong people around you who are business professionals and won't, tell your secrets until you're ready. Just that we are people, but also that it sets people up to be impoverished when they cannot find a job due to their criminal background, when they cannot find housing. So it's a summit based on poverty, and I'm there to basically represent a person that I've come up against obstacles. Me and my mother, and just trying to find a home, I came up against, I had a criminal background.
Right.
And,
Gotcha.
as you
I can't
see, we
imagine how
found a
hard it is
home.
to get a job even with that. I mean, it's a challenge. So let's shift gears a little bit. We know what you do and how you share your struggle and your story
Yeah.
of like painting the passion really with everybody. Now as a keynote speaker, and like I've gotten into this, sharing my story about invisible disabilities with people, and really, shining a light on people's blind spots. So as we shift into what I call the softer side of Sears and get to know you as a person, tell us a little bit about, where did you grow up and how did you grow
Okay.
up?
All right. I grew up in Manassas, Virginia, and we moved to Missouri when I was about 12 years old. Now, as you read my book, when it's probably coming, it probably will be out by either Christmas or New Year's. I thought I was growing up in like a really good home. I had both my parents. We were in, religion, but in actuality, I was growing up with a lot of trauma. I was in basically a cult. I was being raised as Jehovah's Witness. And I really feel like, and my dad's relationship with my mom kind of set me up to believe that it was okay for basically a man to emotionally, verbally, and physically abuse you. But I did not come to those realizations until, I was already sitting in prison. Because as I said, I had initially thought for a long time I grew up in a good home. Not so
And you don't
much.
know from the inside out, right? Now, what about
You're right. Yeah.
growing up? Was there a movie or a book that helped inspire you or help you to grow and become the next version of you?
Well, the next version of me wasn't a really good one. And that movie or book was actually the story of my father and all of his trauma and how he just really ran it into our family. And then you just have trauma on trauma on trauma. And once more, like while I was in prison, you don't have anyone to really look at except for yourself and do a lot of introspection. So I do remember being in school, and in hindsight, a lot of my teachers felt bad that I could never participate in holidays and, all of those things. And all I could remember was having to defend beliefs that now I know no child should have to bear those. So I really wish I would say this, the book was the Bible. That was the book, but I couldn't put it into, You
And that's
know,
what changed.
I just had some, yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. Perfect. What about what was your favorite kind of music growing up that really kind of
Oh, Lord have mercy. I was a
and
big fan of heavy metal,
yeah,
classic rock, and then when rap hit the
what
scene,
something that really kind of fires you up?
Led Zeppelin, big Led Zeppelin fan, big
Really?
Tupac fan, big Selly Cell, big Bun B. Like, I was all over the place with
Hmm.
my music. I was. Like, I would go from listening to Harvester of
Oh,
Sorrow
beautiful, beautiful.
to Against All Odds. So you got to go
Yeah.
into music to know that one.
Oh wow, wow. Big change. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
that was
Against All Odds. I don't know
Metallica.
the other one.
Yeah.
But all right. What about? Mhm. All right. What about what's a fun fact about you
I
that
have a
maybe
memory
people don't
like
know?
almost photographic with names and places and things that people have told me. And I also have a genetic
Ooh,
marker
very cool.
hitchhiker's thumb, which has to be inherited.
Oh,
Yep. If you can,
I think I have that too.
yep,
See,
you do
mine
have
goes back.
hitchhiker's thumb.
um, all right. What about what is your favorite kind or like what is your favorite food?
I saw that as a question that you like to ask people. And I just have to tell you, I was deprived of really good food for a long time. So I love all
Hmm.
the foods. Hence why my hips don't lie. Shout out Shakira.
Yeah, gotcha. All right then. Then you know what I'm going to do then? Here, hold on. Hello, Old Country Buffet. We need one of everything in the green room. Thanks. All right. So that's my
That's
totally roll
right.
call out to the green room. So before we switch over to our next segment, Syreta, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for those that are watching on the replay. Please give us some likes and some thumbs
Yeah.
ups and some hearts so that we know that you got some value and some aha moments during this interview.
Mhm.
Tell me just before we switch over, what is one thing that you want people to recall about you?
I want them to know that I am more than a survivor. I am more than a moment in time that it happened like that. I am more than a crime. I am a human being. I am a person. I have a big heart. I'm a lover, and I deserve to have the same respect that you would give anyone else. And I want you to extend that to people who have been in circumstances such as mine, or just anything where you might be predisposed to judge that person. Judge not, lest ye be judged.
Gotcha. I love it. Thank you so much, Syreta. We're gonna bring you back after our training segment. So enjoy that food and try to save me some. Okay.
Oh, okay, I will. One of everything.
All right. There we go. So while she's enjoying that lovely food, I want to ask everybody here, um, if you want to, as part of our sponsor segment, start improving your conversions and get feedback. Use Talkadot. There's that link down below. I just used that a couple of weeks ago. I got 105 testimonials in less than 1 hour. So if you want to have the same kind of results, definitely click on that link. Upcoming, we have our VMA Mind Shift Speaker Confidence workshops coming up every Tuesday night for a one-time donation. You get that for lifetime access. So make sure you grab that. And upcoming up, we have the Potapalooza event coming right around the corner just in a couple of weeks. So make sure you do that. It's like a pod fest. It is for show hosts and people that want to be on podcasts, and is your opportunity to get to meet a lot of people in a very short period of time. So, and while we're doing that, also don't forget that if you want to expand your impact in your brand, make sure that you have a branding statement that really shows off your capabilities. And here's an example of what we can do for you.
When you throw a rock into a lake, what happens? No, there's a splash. You make an impact, and then you get waves. And then you don't know where those waves are going. Those waves are going past around the reeds, and you don't know where that impact is. So all of you out there, when you're on stage, you don't know where your impact is going to end. It's never going to end.
All right, folks. So in this segment, our 60-second mind shift, Syreta talks about how she had to survive in prison and become the next version of herself and evolve. Someone else that I recall from that is who lived through something similar is actually Viktor Frankl. If you've ever read the book Man's Search for Meaning, he lived through the Holocaust, and he was in a Nazi camp for over 2 years. And you have to figure out how to compartmentalize his mind and stay positive and focus on the things he can control. So one of the greatest lessons I learned from that is that you can't control what happens to you, but you can control your perception of what happened to you. And by doing so, you now separate the act from what you are believing happened to you. So as a result of that, now you can move past that and keep moving forward. So right now, people with PTSD, some sort of trauma in the past, or somebody who's been bullied a long time, it's not easy, but there are ways to get past it. I say that the people that bullied me at my last job, 5 managers presented my work because of my speech issues, I didn't want to present. So they got the promotions and I didn't. And one of them didn't put my name on the slide deck. Can you believe that? Even though I did half the work. So this happens. I could either be angry and frustrated and be bitter about it, or I decided to forgive and move on. And that's what I did. And so for me, I think sometimes you got to look back and say, you know what? Am I going to spend my energy in anger? Or am I going to spend my energy being positive and moving past that point in my life? So without any further delay, let's welcome back Syreta, find out if she enjoyed her food and if she saved me any. So, Syreta, how was the food? Did you save me any?
The food was excellent. The food was so good. Lots of food for thought as well. I really like what you just said. I really do. Move past.
What is your biggest takeaway from that quick 60-second mind shift, and what would you add to it?
Well, I really like that you mentioned that, you were hurt and your work, it wasn't acknowledged. And a lot of times as individual, just as a human being, you get hurt. You get people let you fade into the background. People that you expect to do better by you let you down. So take all of that, turn it around and find your voice. Say, hey, that might have happened, but that's not who I am. Shame on them, not shame on me. And if it's shame on you, take accountability. There is a freedom in being accountable. And there's also a freedom in being able to speak for yourself and realize, hey, I might have been through this, but I came out on the other side. Let me tell you about it.
Beautiful. I love it. You're going to ring the victory bell because that's so just eloquently stated. I love it. So last question today. If someone gave you a blank check and said, what is your grand vision? Change the world. What would you do?
What would I do? I would go with, you know what? I've been learning about tiny homes. So I would go buy land and put a whole bunch of tiny homes in every state, find people that are unhoused or, families that are trying to get started. I don't know how big the tiny homes could go. And, clearly, I take care of me first, but I don't need a Lamborghini. I just, want to make sure I'm okay. And then from there, tiny homes in every state and on land where people can get that house, that land, and it's theirs.
Yeah.
They're in a home. That's all theirs.
Beautiful. Got it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. All right. Thanks for everyone for being here and being so amazing. And as always, when you're live, you thrive. When you're on the replay, you get to play again. I want to thank Syreta Toson again for being such an amazing guest. I mean, just heartfelt love going out to you. Thanks. And everyone out there, as always, this is Coach Raja. Believe it and become it. And we'll see you all on the next show. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye. 60 seconds. Okay, great. There we go.
Okay.
So,
hey, I'm there.
All right,
just a minute. Is it?
So 1 more minute.
Yes, sir.
We're going to do your quick testimonial, 3 questions, 60 seconds or less. What was your favorite part about being on the show today?
What a welcoming feeling. I mean, you gave me a great intro. You made me feel like $1 million, like I was ready to come out and rock and roll. And I was ready to come out and rock and roll, but it was just really nice that, you adequately told my story and then let me take over and finish it. I love it.
That's what I try to do. What was your biggest takeaway from the training segment today?
From the training segment, I really liked seeing the clip of you on stage and how you were talking about that splash and riding that wave. I really enjoy that. I really do. It's all about a mindset. Mine is, resilience equals triumph, and yours is the black belt. As long as you're working on that mind, you'll continue to thrive.
That's right. I love it. And last question, scale of 1 to 10, how much would you recommend me to somebody else's show?
100%. Oh, excuse me. 1 to 10. Well, I far exceeded that. 10. There you go.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much. Podcast crew knows what to do from here. And we are officially out of here. Thank you.